what's coming up.
Yep, I know what's coming up.
Once again, if you don't know who I am by now, my name is Tiffany. I'm your main stage hostess with the mostest. I've got my red leather pants on for y'all today. Do you like? Hey, we're a superhero. That's what I'm talking about. But I do have a question for you. I'm about to bring out two of our favorite guests. I mean, everybody loves these guys, two incredible voices. But I do have a question. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
You know what time it is. I'm going to bring out Dave Klein to bring out our two wonderful, amazing actors. Come on out here, Dave Klein, your moderator. Give it up for him.
My name is Dave Klein. I'm a senior producer for GameSpot and Fandom, but that is not important. What is important is that we have Tom and Roger here with us. Please put it up for them. Give them a round of applause.
Oh, wait. There they are.
It's Santa Squid.
Yeah.
And Tom Kenny as well. Please give a round of applause.
Welcome back.
Hi, Dave.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad I didn't wear my red leather pants today. I almost did. I almost wore my red leather pants.
So,
But then, since I had slept in them, I was like, forget it. Yep.
That's right.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, SpongeBob and Squidward!
And, I might be a little more caffeinated than y'all. You got some in your beard.
Good. Save it for later.
so to start us off, what actually led you into voice acting and your interest in voice acting?
Puberty. I had a really high voice when I was a kid, and then when I went through puberty, it dropped like the mumps, and I decided to be a television announcer. And I was. Whenever I go under a bridge, you can't hear me.
I guess I still have a high voice. I don't know. But, so I'm still waiting. What's puberty like? Tell me, O-Sensei, what's puberty like? I'm waiting for it to hit. Maybe today will be the day.
Acne.
But for me, it was just a really, probably like you too, Roger. I know like you too, a lifelong interest in voices, and sounds and accents and stuff like that, character actors and animation and just weirdness and just going, how can I be a part of that? You know, is there a way to make a living doing that?
And make money.
Yes, and if I can just, I don't even want to make money. It's like, as long as I'm not living under a bridge, I'm happy, You gotta keep your expectations low, but yeah, that's what happened. And then I did stand-up, I did sketch comedy. Roger has a very checkered and very similar career.
Very checkered and chest. It's actually the same thing. I went in broadcasting, like I say, had a late night comedy show back in Arkansas, and then got into this kind of stuff. And
what about the National Lampoon? That's a cool credit.
National Lampoon, yes. I got involved with them right about Animal House time, and they were going to do the next movie, the next Jaws movie, but as a comedy. And they were going to call it Jaws 3, People 0. This was the best part of the script. And Mr. Spielberg stepped in because we were going to show how the shark worked, so we canceled it. I had a love scene with Bo Derek, too. That's my Hollywood tragedy story.
I bet she would have said that you were a 10.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, Jaws 3 in 3D with Dennis Quaid did turn out to be kind of a comedy, if you've ever seen it.
So SpongeBob has been going on for, forever at this point, but
127 years.
Yes, that sounds accurate. Yeah,
In squid years.
Yeah. But what's interesting is even when a show has multiple seasons, it doesn't get the fan base that SpongeBob has. So when did you first realize just the magnitude of SpongeBob and the fan base that it had?
Well, I mean, next year, 2024 is going to be year 25 of SpongeBob.
25.
A quarter century of voice, and it's never been out of production, right? So, like, for well over a third of my life, I've been voicing this guy, So it's pretty weird. But yeah,
25. What's funnier than 24?
25!
The sad part is it's only a tenth of my life.
Roger's aging in reverse. He's the Benjamin Button of cartoon voices.
SpongeBob is the same age as my son.
Yeah, the magnitude of it is insane. And you know, it was kind of a slow build. It was one of those things where the first season it was okay. And then there was actually, I don't know if you remember this, Roger, right around season 4, there was actually a rap party that we went to where the show was done. And we went, and I thought it was a season rap party. And I was like, hey, you know, a rap party, you know, see you next, you know, see you at the kickoff party for next season. They go, oh no, this is a series rap party. So like, what? Yeah, da 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 da, you know. So yeah, we were like, wait, what? And then I think then Nickelodeon looked around and did a little math, and I think they were like, wow, we're selling a lot of macaroni and cheese and bed sheets and stuff. We better keep this going. So they did, and here we are 25 years later. You know?
I take full responsibility for the merchandise because I collect it all. So all that stuff he just mentioned is in my house right now.
Roger, yeah, by the way, that is true. Roger is, are you still on the verge of getting Guinness Book of Records certified?
I believe I have the world's largest collection of merchandise and memorabilia and stuff that no one else can have because it's just cast stuff. And so I'm submitting it to Guinness soon. So if you think you have a big collection, bring it on. I have no house now.
Andrew, you have a very understanding wife, I must say.
Oh yes, very understanding.
My wife was like, I hate clutter. You know, I'm like, I'm all about clutter. You know?
So we're gonna see an episode of Hoarders soon, starring you. Yeah.
Yes.
The hoarder, yeah.
I don't know, there's subaquatic hoarders.
Squid Woman.
Underwater hoarders starts Friday.
So Tom, what do your kids think of SpongeBob? And have you ever driven them to school and they're like, please don't do the voice, Dad. This is so embarrassing.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, yeah. They're like, don't tell anybody you're SpongeBob. The kids freak out. But they're 26 and 20 now, so they kind of grew up with SpongeBob. You know, like we said, this is gonna be the 25th year. So you know. My son, who's now 26, was, you know, a little tiny, like a couple of years old when SpongeBob started, and my daughter, who's 20, grew up. You know, it's just kind of
It's like a family business, you know. It's like a Godfather. It's like you know, the 5 families. So
to them, it's not even that exotic. You know, it's kind of like it's like your dad owns a hardware store or something. This is what he does. You know.
Yeah. What do you think it is about SpongeBob that's made it endure to this day?
Yeah, I always make the comparison of us and Looney Tunes. They're both essentially 11-minute cartoons. We're not a half-hour show. We're a half-hour show, but each one has the 11-minute cartoons. And we utilize animation, what I call the classic animation. You get hit with a frying pan and your face turns the shape of a frying pan. SpongeBob goes on a crying jag and he turns into a lawn sprinkler. This is the kind of thing that's specific to animation and silliness. And it appeals to a little kid because it's colorful and it's a cartoon. Your teenagers, they get a joke they didn't get when they were 6, and the same thing when they were 18 and adults. And then the adults turn the whole show on to their kids too, so we're multi-generational. But essentially, funny is funny. And it's gonna work when you can please the crowd and make them laugh. And I still laugh when I watch.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of comfort food too. It's like it's like the Krabby Patty of TV, you know. It's like it's comfort food. SpongeBob is always going to be SpongeBob. Squidward's always going to be Squidward. Patrick's always going to be Squidward. The same way. The same way that comfort food. Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny's always going to be Bugs Bunny. Tweety Bird. Yeah, and when they try to reinvent those characters too much, fans don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's put a backwards baseball cap and some chains on the Tasmanian Devil. You know what I mean? You don't need to do that. You know, they're good. It's like you don't need to change Superman's costume. It's cool. You know, red and blue with an S on it. There's a reason it's been around for 100 freaking years. So, I think SpongeBob. I mean, you could write 20 term papers on this, speculating on it, but also I think SpongeBob was the last big thing that happened before the internet took over the world. It's kind of one of the last big pop cultural things that hit right before internet started ruling our lives. So I think there's something about that. It kind of straddles the pre-internet and post-internet eras. And also, you know, and this was Steven Hillenburg being very conscious about this, was that he wanted SpongeBob to be a really hopeful, wide-eyed, optimistic character. Like nothing can bring him down. Like people around him might try to bring him down, and they might be a little jealous of they might be a little jealous of SpongeBob's, you know, sunny view on life, but that was really needed back then, you know, during the George W. years or whatever, and now it's even more needed, you know, since, you know, and I think it's just that it's like it's happy and it's positive, you know. SpongeBob is like this positive force in the world. It's all good vibes. There's no downside. So maybe. What do you think? Is there anything to that? Like, Tom Kenny's so full of crap. No.
That was the first word that Steven gave to us in describing. No, that was the second word. But describing what SpongeBob was about was the word innocence, and that's where the whole germ came from. And I just think like the Beatles, we were just the right thing for the right moment in time, and we just kept going. And we've sold almost as many songs as the Beatles.
and Steve was also obviously super smart and super intuitive, and knew that if it's just about the positive guy and it's unrelenting positivity, well then it's like Care Bears or something, you know what I mean? So you know, you put people like Squidward, you know, Mr. Krabs, Plankton, you know, Patrick, you know, who you know, Patrick is a force of nature unto himself, and those forces that can't grind SpongeBob down. Like he just won't. Maybe he will be momentarily. He might go. You know, it's going to be the best day ever. Oh no, it's not the best day ever. And then he goes to bed and he goes, you know what? Tomorrow's going to be the best day ever. You know, that's kind of how I live my life, because I have to, or I'll go freaking crazy. So you know, I have to have that outlook on life. Like better things are coming, no matter what's going on in the world. You know, positivity will rule eventually, and or win the day, or push back on the negativity and the darkness. So like if I don't proceed like that, I'm losing my marbles.
I'm just the opposite. I am Squidward. If everything is not something I can complain about, I'm not happy.
But that's strangely comforting in its own way.
Yeah, that's weirdly optimistic to say like, oh, things aren't awful, then I'm not happy. It's like, then you be sad all the time, you're like, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah,
that's great.
well, I always say that it takes more effort and more strength to be positive than to be negative. Like, negative's easy.
Yeah.
Well, negative's easy. Who can't be negative? You know, big deal, you know.
Oh, shut up. See, that was easy. That was easy.
But you're so positive about your negativity.
I am.
So I work for Fandom, which essentially, if you look up a Wikipedia page on SpongeBob, that's Fandom. Encyclopedia SpongeBob is Fandom. So we reached out to them to ask questions to you guys. So from Nubasig07, and because you guys spoke on the internet, this makes perfect sense. What do you think of SpongeBob memes, and do you have a favorite one? And from me, why is it Handsome Squidward?
The weirdest episode ever in the history of episodes is the Handsome Squidward, the two faces of Squidward. It's just absolutely wonderful. And the memes, I don't get memes. I'm showing my age, I guess. I just don't get them. But the one that outside of Handsome Squidward was the future.
Yes!
I never got it. People were saying, just do it this way, and like you're doing a crunch, and okay, fine. And it turned into a meme. I don't understand it.
SB129.
One of the most disturbing cosplays I've ever seen is Handsome Squidward.
Yes.
Wow. Have you seen it yet? Like there's a guy that like molded like a head, like a Handsome Squidward head, like really, like, I mean, it's beautiful. But when you see that walking around in real life, you're like, ah!
I just got a message from a woman that made herself up. I mean, physically like that, and went out on a date with her husband to Chick-fil-A. And she's walking around this, and I wrote her back and said, that is the honest and most brave date I've ever heard of. Because she's not a guy, and she was doing that, and the makeup was absolutely perfect.
Fantastic.
Floating around Chick-fil-A.
Well, I do understand the memes, maybe because I have kids, you know, but what I think is cool about the memes is that they're taking, you know, they're kind of homemade, they're kind of like folk art, you know, I kind of dig that, you know, it's kind of like people, it's like somebody who finds like an old typewriter in a dumpster and makes like a crazy insect sculpture out of it or something like that. Like it's people making art out of stuff that's already there, you know, which I love and Hillenburg loved, you know. So they take these moments, these visual moments in SpongeBob time, and then they just figure out what feeling does that drawing distill into. Like Future, right? That's just like when you feel like the world's going off the rails and you're just in a fetal position rocking back and forth. Like you go, yeah, that's how I feel right now. You know, like that's, and the memes are really good. And sometimes what the memes have been used for is not what originally the drawing was, but somebody co-opted it and it works perfectly. Like, as far as I know, like the drawing of SpongeBob like going like that's not him mocking somebody in that episode. He's not like, I know you are, but what am I? You know, he's not doing that. But it looks like he is, and it's perfect to encapsulate that moment. And I gotta say, my favorite one, you know, when is
I'm a head out.
I'm a head out. I use that all the time.
My favorite one is SpongeBob's look when he realizes that Squidward does love Krabby Patties. That the thing.
Krabby Patties, don't you? You like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward?
So, from multiple people, they asked, what is your favorite and least favorite episode of SpongeBob?
Favorite what?
Favorite and least favorite episode of SpongeBob?
Least favorite?
Yeah, both.
I have one. Ever since they learned that I can scream, when SpongeBob finds Mermaid Man's barnacle, utility belt, and put the rays on him, and he tries to get him back, and he screams about 12 different times. They make me scream every show. Well, there was an episode called The Lemonade Stand, where he accidentally, for the first time, by the way, exudes ink. They had kind of stayed away from that for a while, you know, but they had it come out of his nose. So I had to do both screaming and fear, because they had to scare me to have to do it. And then I had to make the sound of the stuff coming out of my nose, and then there was a third quality also to it. And I had to do that over and over and over again, and I was just completely exhausted by the end of the show. And I don't think it was that great a show.
Was I the voice director then?
No.
I know. No. I never would have made you do it so many times.
Yeah. He said, okay, do a scream, and I do like half of it. He said, okay, that's enough. We're not going to make it anymore. He said, no, I want to. It's therapeutic.
Yeah. Since I started voice directing a few seasons ago, I'm like, we don't need to kill these guys. You know what I mean? It's like it's not 25 years ago. We're not as young as we used to be. So it's like as soon as I hear the scream that's going to fill the hole, I'm like, got it. You know, why paint a mustache on the Mona Lisa, baby? That was the perfect scream. So yeah, I remember that episode. And there are episodes that are really, I mean, not to complain, because it's like, oh, you know, first world problems, you make funny voices and get paid, boo, freaking out. But you know, you gotta preserve this little flap of skin that makes you a living, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when you're in your church proof, it's you know, it gets harder. You gotta worry more. Yeah. Like back when SpongeBob first started 25 years ago, I would just scream, and you know, just total punk rock. Yeah, balls to the wall, go for it. You know, I'm not worried about tomorrow. You know, who cares if I can talk tomorrow? Well, now I gotta worry if I can talk tomorrow. So you know, you definitely take it easy. But yeah, that I can see why you would hate that episode. I would say Band Geeks is probably my favorite episode. You know,
Sweet victory!
Sometimes that changes. I like the Good Noodle episode. You know, just because when my kids were in school, that kind of resonated. It's different. There's none that I really hate. You know what I mean? Like there's some that I like more than others, but there's. I can't think of one that I just go, you know what I mean?
Talk about Band Geeks, though, and memes. There's a moment in there that I still think is one of the funniest little moments. They're about to go on stage, and then Squilliam comes in and taunts them and says, "Is that your band?" And he looks over and SpongeBob's going, and they cut back to me, and I sheepishly go, That's his eager face.
Yep. But we are kind of our characters, aren't we? Yeah, that's pretty weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have that ultimate positivity. Like, I don't dislike any of them.
Yeah, I try to be anyway, but yeah, not as positive as SpongeBob because that would make me insane. But yeah, you try.
So, I have a question for both of you from two different people. So, for Tom, who's been your favorite character to voice? And for Roger, who's been your favorite character to voice outside of SpongeBob? So let's combine that.
So, favorite character outside of SpongeBob? Because I gotta say, we still love doing these characters. You know, like it's still a privilege and a pleasure to be doing them. Like, wow, you know, get to do these characters that we like, and we still are employed doing them. You know, and the world still cares about them. You know, that's like a miracle. Well, it's miraculous. You know, and like we still can't believe it. You know, but I would say outside of let me think about that. You go first.
Outside of Squidward, my favorite voice would be Squidward outside. Because he's my man. He's to quote Star Trek, he is my first best destiny. And but I also did Professor Membrane in
Yes!
Gem. You know?
Oh yes!
He's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No, curse his
scientifically
son.
impossible kind of thing.
But he's fun. But he's not as broad a canvas as Squidward is. Squidward is actually therapy for me. You know, I save a lot on psychiatry fees because I have to scream and be sarcastic, and it just is a wealth of emotion to do for my entertainment and for a paycheck.
Well, and to that point, that's true. That's really true. Is that it is really therapeutic to be these characters, you know, and it's a lot of work. Like, I mean, since I voice direct too, and there's three SpongeBob series, and then there's usually a Netflix movie or a game or something that's in development or happening. Like, usually like 4 days a week, full days are SpongeBob oriented for me, you know, and people are like, don't you get sick of it? And I'm like, no, like, if it wasn't there, I don't know what I would do. It really is therapeutic, you know, it's kind of our happy place. But I would say non-SpongeBob, he's standing right over there, Mr. Simon Petrikov. The Ice King, baby. Give it up for Simon. Yeah. Field and Cake. Are you guys watching Field and Cake?
Yeah.
And I would say another one, a little deeper dive, but on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. There was a big purple monster named Eduardo. He's with a big teeth. I really like him. Those are probably my favorite. It may be the mayor from the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh my God.
Just because it gives me a chance to do my crappy Wizard of Oz impression.
It's just amazing how much range is in just those four voices. It's so much range.
Oh, thank you.
You know, talking about Tom, who is now our director, which is a fine director. We don't see each other live. This is the first time we have actually been in the same room for at least a year.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe at that, were you at that Patrick Star Show party?
No, I wasn't there.
You didn't show up.
Nah,
You weren't at that.
No.
That's right. We were like, where's Roger? And yeah, that's right. So that's the last time I saw most of the cast in person. But you stiffed.
Yeah, well, I didn't stiff. I had something else to do.
You were oiling your beard.
Yes. I had to wear a name tag so he'd recognize me.
Hello, my name is.
No one recognizes me with the beard now. I'm getting an audition with ZZ Top though.
So, one more question
Was there
for
a
me.
question? I think we answered it, right?
I think we did. Okay, good. Yeah. One more question from me.
I'm still on the first question.
One more question for me, and we'll open up to you guys. What is your favorite song from the series?
Best day ever for me. Yeah.
Yes.
Tom has an album that he wrote and produced, and this is not Nickelodeon doing. It's called Best Day Ever. And with his wonderful connections in the music business, Brian Wilson and the Ramones and all that, they contributed to these songs, and they're all great songs. They're not like little kiddie songs. They're really nicely well done. And he made one for me called Superior, which is kind of a Broadway tango kind of a song where I really got to belt it out. And so that's absolutely my favorite song.
And you know what's weird? It kind of prefigured that great I'm Not a Loser song in the SpongeBob Broadway musical.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I definitely really think that whoever wrote that song knew that album. You know what I mean? Not that I'm miffed about it or anything, but it's like they might have used that as a jumping off point. Like when we wrote the songs on that album, which is now 20 years old, but came out 20 years ago. Me and Andy Paley, who wrote the songs, were just like, let's write a song that just encapsulates the personality of every character, because Hillenburg did the hard work of giving each character such a defined, different from each other personality that let's put that in song, you know. So Superior was Squidward's song, Best Day Ever was SpongeBob's song, like for the reasons we said before. Hey, maybe tomorrow, you know, and so that's my favorite song. And I'm glad you like Superior, but that one, the SpongeBob musical, I almost would love to hear you sing it instead of the guy in the SpongeBob.
I would too. Yes. We all went to the premiere on Broadway, and I'm a lousy audience member. I wanted to be on stage so much. I just didn't want to do 8 shows a week.
Yes. Well, I saw Ethan when I went. I saw the guy Ethan that played SpongeBob on Broadway. I saw him like climbing and like having to like do gymnastics, and I was like, I'm so glad I'm not on stage. I could have done that when I was 20. But yeah, I mean, nobody becomes a voice actor because they're so great in gym class. You know what I mean? So,
which is precisely where I came from. I started out in physical comedy, so I related to his stuff completely. Falling down all the time. I can still fall down. I just can't get back up.
Yeah, and I'm also, by the way, he's dating Ariana Grande, I'm not, okay? Just so you guys know, the Broadway SpongeBob is dating Ariana Grande. Yeah, so that got on TMZ and everything. So TMZ had a headline that said, SpongeBob actor hooking up with Ariana Grande.
For like, say, for years. There's a lot of questions at home, so like what?
Yeah, people are going, hey man, are you and Jill okay? You know what I mean? I'm like, look at me, do I look like like Ariana Grande is gonna look at Tom Kenny and go, wow, what a hottie. I'm going, yeah. What a man! What a man! Yeah, no. So so that was kind of a fun. That was kind of a fun mistaken identity thing that went on for a day or so. I had TMZ blowing my phone off the hook, wanting me to comment on it. You know, I'm just like, nope.
You gotta love the internet, though. I've been reported dead twice.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've been internet dead twice. Yeah, you twice.
Us and Shatner are dead. And when we really do die, no one's gonna believe it. Cause look at that, our football team won and Roger Bumpass died again.
The first time that I died on the internet, the first death hoax, I remember it like it was yesterday. My kids were little, and we were riding the Christmas train in Griffith Park. And my phone starts blowing up. Are you alive? Are you dead? You know what I mean? And yeah, it was pretty weird. Yeah.
I'm on the tracks right now.
I mean, yes, I'm dead and I'm dating Ariana Grande. Both are true.
I just thought this was an afterlife panel. So let's go ahead and open up to you guys. How about right there in the red hair?
Speak loud, please.
We should have a mic actually. So yeah. Okay.
Hi there. My name is Girly Teen Girl. I don't think this is the slumber party. But my question is, I don't know if this is a weird question or a boring question or whatever. I know you guys are voice actors and you mostly do voice acting. And you probably have theatrical experience as well. If there was a movie, like if someone said, hey, I'm gonna put you in a movie, like any movie you want, it could be any genre, any director, Spielberg, A24, like if you want to pull like an Adam Sandler and then put gems, like what would be your dream role and dream film?
Something that just happened to me coming back from another Comic-Con on the airplane. Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor in Terminator was across from me, and we talked. And as she was the most wonderful person in the world, not Sarah Connor at all. And I said, there's a pitch for a Squidward and Sarah Connor's situation. I'm just still running it through my head.
Squidward has to go back in time to prevent SpongeBob being born. Yeah. We drive him so crazy. Yes. Can you say I'll be back as Squidward, please?
Come with me if you want to live. And not be bored.
Wow, that's a really good question. Well, you started out on stage and doing comedy. I did too. I started out as a stand-up. So And I was trying to get into voiceover the whole time, and I just couldn't, you know, like, I kept auditioning and nobody wanted me, you know, so I did stand-up. I made a living as a stand-up. I did Letterman a couple times. I did Conan O'Brien a couple times, like before I was ever doing voiceovers, you know, so I, you know, and I was in stuff, you know, Mr. Show with Bob and David, you know, an HBO series, you know, with Cross and Odenkirk, you know. So I had some of that, but like in terms of like a big theatrical movie, wow, that is wow. Maybe if I could be, I want to be in May, December. I want to be in May, December. I'll be December. I'll play December.
You can be in Jaws 3, People 0.
I throw out Jaws. Yeah, how many Jaws were there? There was never a Jaws 5, right?
I don't think it was.
You can do Jaws 5, People 0 now.
Yeah, right.
That'll be great.
How about right there in the front? Yeah.
I actually had a question for Roger. I want to see if you remember, if we're reading this, you can talk about the time that you voiced Doc Ock in the Spider-Man at Universal Florida. Your experience away from that.
It was very fun, and the ride is still going on, and it's
So it's a ride at Universal Studios in Florida, the Spider-Man ride.
Spider-Man.
And you're Dr. Octopus.
I'm Doc Ock in that, and didn't you play Doc Ock at one time?
I was Doc Ock in Ultimate Spider-Man.
He's the real Doc Ock.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes!
so that's weird. We both been Doc Ocks.
Yeah.
That's pretty weird. It's like a support group.
So you're in the Spider-Verse then, both of you.
In a sense, yes.
And you know, I also did Spider-Man for some 4D film that they were showing at Madame Tussauds wax museums, you know what I mean, where they had Marvel characters, and it was like, you know, you put on the glasses and they showed like a 4D movie, and I was actually Spider-Man in that. Wow. So, but that's the only time I've ever been Spider-Man. But you know, that's a great thing about voiceover. You know, if there weren't kids here, I would say voiceover is the SH, because you know, I played. I'd like to buy a vowel.
Let me Google that. Okay?
Vanna turns the letter around, survey says. I think, you know, I played Captain America. You know, I've been Iron Man. I've played all these hunky guys, monsters, robots. You know, and like, if I was on camera, like you were saying, if I was on camera, I'd be playing like dopey middle-aged dads, you know, maybe granddads by now, you know what I mean? No daughter of mine's going out in that bikini, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'd be doing. I'd probably be miserable. But like the great thing about voiceover is that you get to play all kinds of characters that don't look like you, don't sound like you. And even when I was on camera, I was happiest doing sketch comedy, like in Mr. Show, where you know, I'd have like prosthetics on and stuff. I never liked to look like me or sound like me. So I guess there's a fair amount of self-loathing involved.
What I hate is when people say, "Oh, you look a little like Squidward."
Ooh.
No, handsome Squidward.
Oh, they don't say that part.
What do you do? What's your reaction when they say that? Stop it! No, I don't look like Squidward! I didn't come here to be insulted.
What you come here for?
They say the same thing about me. They go, "Oh, you kind of look like SpongeBob," you know. They do. Yeah.
Well, it's like people that own their dogs for such a long time, they start to look like I'm doing this for 25 years.
And it's kind of like dogs start to look like their owners. Dogs and owners start to look alike. You know, you start to look like the character you play.
See, Tom, I feel like if Ice King had a kid, he would be doing the "don't go out in your bikini" thing. They definitely do that.
Yeah, don't go out in your bikini, but invite your friend over and have her put on her bikini because I'm a dirty old man. Yeah. Ice King is a whack job.
So, how about
a guy that has to kidnap women in order to get a date? You know, that's pretty damaged goods.
Is that not normal?
I don't do that anymore.
Dave is like, wait, what? Is that weird?
Jeez.
How about the straw hat?
Ooh. Oh, hi.
Oh, we got a mic for you.
Okay.
There you go.
That's.
Put down the camera.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Hey. So it's great to see you again there, Roger Bumpass and Tom Kenny. I always wanted to ask this because you just did Eduardo's voice. It'd be pretty funny if SpongeBob and Squidward got to meet like Professor Membrane and Eduardo. What would they actually say to each other if that was ever the case?
Wow. Well, what would it be? It'd be,
SpongeBob, I gotta say, you are my favorite imaginary friend.
Wait, who are you calling imaginary?
Not now, Squidward. I'm making toast. I'm making a souffle.
Ooh, thank you. Thank
Roger,
you
can I
very
get
much.
one, please?
That was his first line.
25 years later, that still makes me laugh. And also, you can't go wrong with the Squidward typical.
Thank you, guys.
That comes in very handy in life too. When you just see something, it's like, of course, you just go typical.
We just started doing that little convention. I kind of like it.
How about over there in the red and black? Yeah, yeah.
Hey, he's got the first 100 episodes.
Yes,
I remember DVDs.
Funny enough, I've had this since I was 9 years old. 9 years old.
Last
Came out
week,
in
huh?
2009. But Tom, I remember you from Sky High and the cameo when
Yes.
yeah, where you were seeing, school coming down on your house and your wife's house. That was funny. I just wanted to say that. But my question is, in one of the episodes when Squidward was trying to sell his house, and you had to, and you and Patrick had to be Squidward. You were more Squidward than Patrick. Patrick just put on a nose and acted like Squidward. You had to voice Squidward with the shape of SpongeBob's, head being like Squidward's head. I wanted to know how that came about and how, like, you challenge, like, you have SpongeBob's voice, but you also have to keep it, Squidward-like. You can't differentiate it between.
Well, after 25 years together, we can all do pretty good versions of each other. Again, it's kind of like a family, you can do impressions of your brothers and sisters, your brothers and sisters can do impressions of you, you all do your impressions of your parents, that's kind of how we are, so we all can pretty much do each other. There was one episode, I can't remember the title of it, but there was one where SpongeBob kind of had this kind of multiple personality disorder where he was turning into Sandy and Squidward and Patrick and Mr. Krabs all at the same time.
Creepy.
And yeah, that was really weird. And they had to sing a song, like as, SpongeBob as all those characters channeling them. And that was kind of a fun challenge, but really, we all have each other's DNA, and
We all do. We all had to do everybody else's characters. Sometimes when they're not there for a session, the animators need the spacing of those lines on some sort of recording just to get the timing and stuff, called a scratch track. And we all, at one time or another, have to do everybody else's characters. So it's not that easy. I can't do Patrick for a long period of time because it just wrecks my throat. But in Squidville, in one of the early shows, all the cast members had to do versions of Squidward, and it was...
Yeah, because it was kind of like Planet of the Squids.
Yeah, it was very depressing because it was so easy for everybody else to do my character.
Don't get too comfortable with this. Yeah, dog with a bone. And very quickly, Sky High, funny how all the way everything's connected, you know what I mean? Like, very quickly, the Disney movie Sky High was directed by a guy that started out directing a lot of the Patchy the Pirate live segments on SpongeBob, and then he got that movie, and I was originally supposed to play, I can't remember the name of remember the villain had that henchman that was kind of like a court jester, like a Harlequin guy? That was supposed to be me, and then I couldn't do it because the cartoon schedule was too busy. So then Mike Mitchell, the director, calls, and he goes, "Hey, do you want to be scared? Do you and Jill want to be scared couple? And it's just one day, it's at Warner Brothers Studios, it's down the street from your house. There's going to be a house falling on you, and you just have to look up and go, it's kind of like a cameo. I'm like, yeah, we'll be there. So it was kind of the consolation prize for not being able to be the henchman to the villain. I can't remember who played the henchman eventually, but maybe it was one of the kids in the hall or something. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that movie since it came out.
How about over there in front of Mario?
Oh, yay! Go ahead, kid.
I saw Luigi earlier.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either. Too bad it didn't kill me. However,
Excellent question, kid.
Do a symphony with that.
Excellent question.
It sounds great. Sriracha is definitely an instrument.
Right there, the blue snail.
Hi, so in Fiona and Cake, you had to voice a couple of emotional deliverances. So in general, what's your thought process behind voice acting those emotional deliverances? Also, these snails right here for you.
Oh, wow. It's a snail, but it's not Gary. I'm confused. Wow.
That's Gary's blind date. Gary's got a blind date with that snail later. So I think, sorry, it's a little hard to hear, and I'm totally deaf from too much punk rock in my youth. But you were saying that in Fiona and Cake, there's different layers to the Ice King and Simon and all that. You're saying in the acting.
It's not on. Oh. There's emotion in the delivery, and I'm wondering what your thought process is behind those emotional deliveries.
Oh,
The voice
sure.
acting.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's all acting, you know. It's all like for us, like it's funny. Like some people, I think, especially people that haven't done it, a lot of on-camera actors think that you can just come in and voiceover is just reading stuff out loud, you know what I mean? But there's, it's not reading out loud. We really think about it, you know, and I still audition for stuff, and you still audition for stuff all the time, where you look at a drawing and you try to think, what would this guy sound like, you know, and you record it, and you send it in. There's probably 50 other people that are great sending their best guess in, and, you know, our job, it's funny, like people go, wow, acting, that's a cool job. And I go, really, when you're an actor, your job is auditioning. Like, the acting is the easy part after you get the gig.
You've got the job.
Like trying to get work is your work,
That
you
is
know
the
what I
work,
mean?
the work.
So that's why it's not for everybody, you know, it's kind of like pounding it's a lot of pounding the pavement, you know? And I still audition for stuff every day, which Bill Fagerbach, Patrick doesn't understand. He's like, why do you work so hard? I don't get it. He totally is Patrick. And, I don't get it. Why do you still audition for stuff? I'm like, I have to. I'm compelled. You know, but
that is the process. That is the process.
The process.
You used to go to an audition, or used to go to an audition. Now it's all online. But you see the photo or a drawing of your character. You see a written description of it, and your job is to put that together into something vocal. And it's not easy. It really is not easy. Sometimes you land, you know, right in your wheelhouse, and then everything is fine. I think Squidward for me was that. I just had to lucked into this certain nasality and sarcasm that Stephen liked, and so it worked fine. But so many times, man, you give it your best, and you come away thinking, well, I got a good chance for that. Kiss of death, you know, because you're young.
Right. Now, conversely, that's true. Conversely, there's stuff where I go, wow, that might be the worst audition I've ever done. I feel like I couldn't get a handle on the character, and then your agent calls and goes, hey, you booked that thing, and you're like, wait, what, really? You know, so, but with Simon and the Ice King, like that was, Fiona and Cake was a pretty deep dive for him. Like, you know, sometimes he's Simon, who's kind of this gentle, kind of wounded guy, and then sometimes he puts, you know, when he's got the crown and he's in Ice King maniacal mode, you know, there's that too. So really it's just, I mean, you know, we get a storyboard beforehand, you know, like Roger said, it used to be all on paper, you know, but now you look, it's 2,000 pages, you know, emailed to you, and it's like a comic book, you know, it's a storyboard, you know, and I just really, a lot of times it's pretty primitively drawn, you know, it just tells you where the bodies are going to be and stuff, but I really look at those and distill those, especially with something as heavy as Fiona and Cake, because, you know, the whole thing is about his sorrow and his heartbreak. Like you got to make that, you got to play that real, you know what I mean? It's got to be real, even though it's in this crazy cartoon world. It's a cartoon crazy world that's real in that dimension. So you got, you know what I mean? Like you got to take, you know, cartoons are serious business. That's what I'm saying. But thanks, great question, and thanks for noticing that, you know.
Yeah, Tom really does work. To his credit, being the director also, you can tell at the session that he has gone to the woodshed, you know, and which means he's prepared, and he even prepares ad libs for us, you know, and so yeah, I give him his due. I hope he's well compensated.
Well, I never have to prepare ad libs for Roger. Roger comes fully loaded with hilarious ad libs, and most of them are usable.
We used to do a thing. We kind of streamlined it now, where we do two takes of say a page of script, and then we do what we call our crazy take, which is we can do whatever we want to do, ad lib, and we go off color sometimes just for our own amusement. And Tom has even refined that process into a wonderfully liberating way of recording our shows. So we get the chance to be creative as well as just give the animators what they want.
Yeah, as long as you get 2 as written, you know, like it'd be crazy, Nickelodeon would be crazy, and I would be a loser as a director if I didn't let these guys bring what they bring to the table. Like, they bring so much. I mean, it's almost like really all I'm directing is traffic, really, you know. It's not, you know, it's not like I have to tell Roger who Squidward is. You know, let me tell you a little bit about Squidward, Roger. This is where this guy's coming from. This is his backstory. Shut up.
Okay, shutting up.
Well, I feel like with auditions, there's a lot more you have to think about that people don't realize, like how far am I from the character, just that sort of thing that you're talking to, like how quiet am I talking, how loud do I have to talk to project them, what's the real intention as opposed to what I'm putting out. So I feel like there's a lot of that too.
Yeah, as the show has gone on, we started out very monotone. Everybody was this one note that was their character. Krabs was the money thing, Plankton was the megalomaniac, and I was just monotone, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but as things go on, they give you different scenarios. They give you different emotions and different scenes, and so you got to spread your wings and become a more balanced character. And as the years have gone on, Squidward has become more my acting style as opposed to just this narrow little thought. So my inflection is now what I would do if I wasn't doing Squidward's voice.
Yeah, well, you brought so much to the character, and then you inhabited the character, and then they're like, yeah, you know, why wouldn't we let him keep inhabiting that character? He inhabits it so perfectly.
It's like the screams. They didn't know that I could scream until that one episode, and then they just incorporated. I joke during post-production that I never have any words to do. It's all efforts and screams and grunts and stuff. But
well, it's funny, like you know. As actors, we're all kind of mentally ill people pleasers anyway. You just want to do a good job, right? You just want them to like what I do, you know? Yeah. And so when you scream 25 years ago, you don't think you're going to be doing it a quarter century in the future. And like when Steve said, well, how do you think this guy would laugh? And I went, you know, like I didn't think I'd be doing it 25 years later. It's like, wow, my neck hurts, you know? But it's pretty crazy, you know? But one thing I realized is that auditioning, in terms of auditioning, like you were talking about, like when I was doing on camera and starting to transition into doing some voiceover and hoping that I could do more voiceover and really kind of wishing that I could do all voiceover and get off camera because I wasn't having that great a time, even though I was glad to have the gigs, you know what I mean? One thing was I realized that when it came to auditioning, I really hated auditioning for on-camera stuff. Like I really had to gear myself up for that, and I really had to like get myself there, you know, to audition effectively. And I really wasn't enjoying the auditioning process at all. You know, you walk into a room and there's 20 guys that all kind of look like you, and you're just like, you know. But with voiceover, still, like I said, I love auditioning, that solving that puzzle that we're talking about, where you look at the description in words, you look at the picture, and they go, what do you think this guy would sound like? You know, I love that as much as I did as I ever have, you know. But so I that was kind of my indicator that voiceover was a better world for me.
It's kind of strange. There's two ends of performance construction, and we do the voice thing. So voice work is acting with your legs and your arms tied behind your back and a sack over your head. You've got to channel everything into the heart and the voice and the intellect to make that sound. Person that does primarily on-camera stuff, coming into the voice world, they still want to do the motions and look like the person. And so there's two different changes that have to happen for the two different types of actors. When we did our live episode with the trusty slab, you know, where we're actually the characters there, that was the Twilight Zone for a lot of us. I'm standing there. We're used to hearing each other talk for 25 years. All of a sudden, I'm standing behind a cash register in a place that looks like the Krusty Krab, and Patrick is standing in front of me looking up at the menu going, and I'm going,
it's kind of like a Black Bear episode, you know? You know, it's pretty weird, you know? But yeah, you know, just picking up on what you said, that's why every SpongeBob session, I make sure to tie Roger up and put a sack over his head.
Yeah.
That's why I do that. It's part of his process.
Okay, so very quick, we have time for one more question. Black, right there, black jacket. Yeah.
Watch out.
Okay, first of all, Tom, I can assure you that I have true fandom, and I trust that I'm not the only one here who does. Now, I have one time for one question on Camp Laszlo. Now, first of all, Ralph Bighead may have been Joe Murray's avatar on Rocko's Modern Life, but I like to think of the Big Bean as a surrogate for him too. The special Hello Summer Goodbye Camp aired long after Joe and his second wife divorced, and after that, he was less involved with production and blamed his career in animation for all his problems. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you and the rest of the crew knew what was going on, could struggles he was going through, and what embittered conflict he was having, have driven that episode's stakes and tension, and what you put into the Big Bean's moral myopia before Laszlo reminds him of Camp Kidney's little merit despite its flaws, could it have been parallel to if Joe Murray nearly thought of quitting and equally dismissing animation cartoons as a hand-me-down art form until something or someone convinced him not to give up and forget his roots? Take it away!
Yes. Definitely yes. Could you repeat the question, please? No, you know what? No, it's funny what you say. Like, it's funny, a lot of times, even in cartoons, not just in TV and movies and live action, in cartoons, writers will take what they're going through in their life and put it into a script. And a lot of times you, as the actor, who a lot of times you're not, you're friendly with the creator, but it's not like you hang out all the time or whatever. It's not like you live next door to each other and you're on a bowling team, or whatever. You work together, but you don't know everything that's going on in their lives. And sometimes you will do a show, and then you'll find out what was going on in that person's life at the time, and you go, wow, I wonder if such and such was channeling that thing they were going through in that episode, because it was sort of the same, at the same time. But a lot of that's just reverse engineering, like you're just in there just looking at the page and looking at the storyboard and going, how do I bring the vocal component of this crazy robot to life,
Well, on that positive note, that's all the time we have. Thank you all so much for coming. And please, again, give another round of applause.
Thanks, you guys.
Come say hello to us at our table.
Wow, I suddenly have a really strong urge to crowd surf. I don't know why. It's like remember when Tom Kenny got crippled for a leg when he crowd surfed at the LA Cup?
Broke his head.
I'll hold you up on myself.
Behind the knife.
I would break my neck, I'm sure. Okay, thanks you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you!
Very much.
Woo! Thank you, Tom!
Thanks, everybody.
Roger!
Check out all your questions. Hey, Mahoy Manoy!
I'm Manoy! Me now, me
I almost just tripped over your chair.
Beautiful. Have a good day, sir.
Take care.
Take care. And that was for my good old friend, if not my niece, as well as Alina, Sophia.